Hello, and welcome to Bonhill Geography. In today's video we'll be looking at deindustrialisation and the reasons for it in the UK, as well as some of the impacts on the north and south and how they have been affected in different ways. Up until 1800, most workers were employed in agriculture and mining, extracting raw materials like crops, livestock, coal and iron ore. Remember, this is in the primary sector. However, between 1750 and 1900, the Industrial Revolution transformed the UK, leading to rapid growth in manufacturing industries and technically the growth of the secondary employment sector. Now, thousands of people moved to towns and cities to work in factories, making steel, building ships, or even in cotton mills. This process is called rural to urban migration, so people were pulled into a city. This led to a significant increase in the rate of urbanisation. As a reminder, urbanisation is an increase in the proportion or percentage of people living in towns and cities. Now we'll look further into the causes of deindustrialisation. Now, during the second half of the 20th century, the UK began to experience this deindustrialisation, shifting away from manufacturing and the secondary sector to more tertiary-based industries such as finance, healthcare and technology. Now, this happened to a multitude of different reasons, though the primary reason was cost and profit. Now, the first reason was mechanisation. Machines and new technology replaced human jobs, making factory work less skilled and reducing the need for workers. For example, we can see the automotive industry here, where cars are now assembled by robots and the entire production is controlled using tablets. As you can imagine, a robot can do the work of about 50 people in some cases, particularly with lifting heavy loads. The second reason was competition from overseas, because many firms moved production to countries with cheaper labour laws, making the UK products less expensive and less competitive. Now, there's been very little investment in manufacturing for many years within the UK, with some of our most recent industries such as the Tata steel plant potentially even closing down. This means our machines are outdated and inefficient, and minimum wage laws mean the labour costs in the UK would be too high to start again. Now, this could see a significant change as India and China begin to move away from these secondary-based employment types. However, time will tell. Now, another significant reason is government policies. Between 1945 and 1979, the UK had state-run industries. But from 1979 to 2010, there was a period of what's called privatisation. This means that the government sold off state-run industries to create more competition. This led to significant closures and job losses, but also private investment and redevelopment of industrial areas, such as the London Docklands and Canary Wharf, which is now coming from being a mainly secondary employment sector to tertiary and even post-industrial or quaternary-based sector. In the south, this deindustrialisation led to significant economic transformation. The redevelopment of areas like the London Docklands transformed into modern financial centres, as we said before, with huge skyscrapers around Canary Wharf. So they were focusing on these areas, but mainly, more than anything else, they were creating new job opportunities and boosting the economy. Did this happen in the north? Quite simply, no. In contrast, the north experienced decline due to deindustrialisation. The closure of coal mines and shipyards led to the loss of these traditional manufacturing and primary sector jobs. Remember, the north was reliant on primary and secondary based industries, particularly around Yorkshire, with lots of the towns being built around, for example, cotton mills, where lots of materials were then processed to be sent abroad. Now, that resulted in a significant increase in unemployment, social problems and environmental degradation, with many buildings being left derelict and still even polluting waterways today. So to summarise, deindustrialisation in the UK was driven by mechanisation, competition from overseas and government policies, while the south benefited from economic transformation and growth in service-based industries and quaternary-based industries. The north faced significant challenges. The north had job losses and created social problems because people had no money. Efforts to rebuild the manufacturing and stimulate the economy still continue, for example with the Northern Powerhouse scheme. This aims to address these disparities. Here are two example questions that you could be asked about deindustrialisation. As we can see, the main word that we need here is that word, deindustrialisation. And you could say for number 1, privatisation. You could say competition from overseas or mechanisation, as long as you are explaining, probably with 2 short point explains. Second question says, suggest how it's created opportunities and challenges. You could talk about the South now having a more tertiary and quaternary based sectors, particularly around the London Docklands, whereas you could use any example that you know from the North to explain how there's now challenges. For example, we could say with Halifax, with the decline in mills and processing works, it means that jobs have decreased. You could even say the same about Leeds. Thank you for watching Bonhill Geography. I'll catch you in the next video.